but most people that we see at this point, their deductible has been finagled so much and their out-of-pocket has been finagled so much that by the time they add up their premium, their deductible, and what they're actually having to contribute that's getting paid for, you have to wonder if they wouldn't just be better off spending that same $5,000-$6,000 a year on exactly what they were looking for,
Yeah, it's like this, so my business partner was talking to me, and his dad was a union guy. He worked in a auto plants in Ohio, and it's like this. So there was a thing many years ago. The union was trying to get dental coverage for the employees in the union, and so he never was too politically oriented. But he's like this. He said he stood up in front of him and said, "Look, in 5 years, your deductible will be as much as you're paying now, and then it will go up." Yeah. So it's going to cost you to do this to get the free dental. And it's like, and damn if he wasn't right, like being right on the money.
Oh yeah.
And it's like that. So it's like the issue is it's capture. It's like it's capture of your mind and capture of your will to get you involved in the system, and then also to strip you of your resources so you don't have any alternatives, right?
Right, for sure. And then you don't know what the other alternatives are, even to the point where something like what we do on the acupuncture and on the nutritional supplement side is in some circles it's vilified, right? So it's changing quite a bit. I mean, I have to say I'm really very encouraged actually by, at least locally, the number of physicians that are referring to us now that it used to be that we would never, get the time of day from. But it's still, as far as the mainstream conversations going on this, it's very much a bottom-up conversation. It's very much coming only because patients are actually telling their doctors and telling their
right.
That
you're getting the results
from this. Exactly right. Yeah,
man. So I started training CrossFit about 15 months ago. Okay.
Oh, wow.
No. So my patient comes in and he's like, it's a CrossFit coach. And I said, I'd say interesting. I was talking to him about some stuff, and I've been doing this online work, and I was doing squats in between. And I say, it took me, I don't know how long, a year to figure out how to do a squat properly. He goes, do a squat. So his wife and him were both in there. They're the coaches, and they watched me do a squat or two. I don't remember, but it's like, and then I started training with him as a personal coach. He's 71. Wow. And it's like, but I'm like, okay, so I start training with him. I've been doing it a year and a quarter. And it's like, I've been working on my back. I've got back issues. And it's like, I've been working on me since 1987. Okay. And it's like that. In the year that I've been working with them, I advanced so much faster in all dimensions than I could have anticipated. And it's like, because now I'm coachable. That's useful. Right. And it's like, well, that sounds stupid, but it's like I saw the pain. It's like a little wince. It's like, yeah, man, I deserve that. I earned it, right? It's just hard heads, right? And it's like, but it's like the issue is this is positive attitude. Do the thing, do something, right?
Yeah,
and
action
it's like
is the most important. Action is definitely the most important.
The other issue is this is you don't have money because you're spending it on these other things, and it's like, yeah, it's not expensive.
Right.
It looks expensive when you're just sticker shock, right? And that's like, look, man, how much is your health worth? Right?
Yeah. Look, it's an age-old conversation within the holistic world because not only do you have patients coming in looking at that from a sticker shock standpoint, but you also, there's another kind of component of this, which is that many people in the holistic world have kind of I say this with as much love as I can in my heart, have like a Mother Teresa syndrome, you know what I mean? Where they're, and obviously Mother Teresa did incredible work, but also, wouldn't take money and was doing, and there's a component where as a holistic healer, you have a sense that if you are successful, then something is wrong. That if you are, if you're actually earning a good living, then something is wrong. And so you don't want people to pay too much. You don't want to spend too much. And so there's a lot of burnout in the holistic world because you have to fight the system that is, paying out of pocket for physical, for your, for your surgery, for, the majority of your medication. But then when you go to do something natural, now we have to convince you, quote unquote, to do it, out of pocket, or self-pay.
That's right.
And so, so there's a lot of burnout because you have this combination of it being against the current paradigm. The patients, look at that as a problem. And now you also have practitioners that have kind of an aversion to making money, and so it's a terrible combination.
But is it interesting? Like one of the fellows I was just talking to, he was talking about artists, and artists are like they kind of opt out of the system. You know what I mean? And it's like, and then they bitch about it because it's like they're not earning the money, and it's like, okay, and it's like this. I can see it being double burn because it's like you're catching it from both sides in that holistic business. But you got to allow yourself to be successful if you want. I mean, that will make it encourages you when people pay you to do your job.
Absolutely. And the thing that we did at our office was we decided to create a hybrid where we accept health insurance to the best of our ability. We manage those claims. Not every plan has them. Not every plan, but we also take self-pay for patients that don't. And we've created a system where, based on it's just a weird in between, because the reimbursement rate for what we do is basically the same as what our self-pay rate is. So it's one of the only fields in medicine where you can create a hybrid, which is actually beneficial. It's not beneficial from the standpoint of our reimbursement rate really stinks compared to a lot of other medical professions. Okay. But it is beneficial in that we can basically serve everyone. We just have to choose. We have to make sure that we have a system for how to do that. And with our intention is to mainstream holistic medicine to as much of a degree as we possibly can, at least in the region. And so,
what's the region?
So we're in the Mid-Atlantic. So I'm in Maryland, and right now we have expanded into Western Maryland as well. And so we are just looking at local, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia. This is kind of the region that I'm referring to. The four what do they call it? The four corners meet in those four states. And so
cool.
Yeah, so that's where we are.
That's all right.
Yeah.
So the issue is like this is like it's just a pickle. It's like I think it's like a psychological conflict that's largely part of it, which is like it's like really it doesn't take much to improve your well-being. If you just got to get this straight a little bit, and then you can get on the right pathway. And it's like, but there's so many forces that are working against the public for the purpose of exploiting the public. It's that's what it is. Because it's like, look, I figured this out. Like, so I did ketogenic diet since 2015, okay, or something like that. And it's like the interesting function is that diabetes type 2 is largely a voluntary disease. And it's like it's $150 billion a year industry. So it's like, don't upset that apple cart, doctor. That will be bad, because you're costing a whole bunch of somebody some money. And it's like, wow, wow. And it's like just bad education, and the doctors are complicit because they're not trained properly in some regards. They're not trained on it. It's interesting. My associate. He did research because his dad was having some like Alzheimer's like issues, right? And he's doing the research, and he's like, to get the metabolic processes by which fat is burned is almost impossible out of the textbooks, because it's just scattered to the wind. It's not consolidated and systematically gone through like the carbohydrate metabolism is very understood and very highly taught. Right? Because that's how we get energy. And it's like, well, that is how we get energy, but we can also do it the other way here and the other way here. And it's like not discussed. I'm like, wow. And I regard it as evil to be factual. You know what it is? Because it's like, it's malicious utilization of people in a way that is unethical.
Right. Well, and then it becomes a social construct as well. So we have, your family and your friends that have bought into kind of the mainstream paradigm as well. And now you have that force. So you're not even supported if you go to look elsewhere, because it's strange. You know, I can't tell you how many patients we've had where they've said, my family thinks I'm crazy for coming here. And I'm like, why? We're just putting a few needles in you and giving you a couple supplements, you know?
That's it.
You know?
What we call that normative bias, right? I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Best Medicine Podcast with Bradley H. Werrell, DO. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe below, either over there or over there. Also, if you're interested in a medical consultation with myself, there's also information below.